What's going on out there, YouTube? So SEL0320 representing JVS. So I'm here to give you guys a review. This is going to be for The Darkest Minds. I was able to actually go and check out screening for it tonight. I was actually really intrigued by it. Based on the trailers when they came out, I was like, this reminds me of X-Men. It's got like some other stuff going on with the Hunger Games. But I was very interested to see where it was going to be. But I saw a couple of reviews kind of come out. It's kind of a little iffy and kind of spotty. I was like, what does that mean? So let's break it down. What were the good and the bad things about it? I think that the opening of this film really set a good foundation. I was like, man, they're really taking this really seriously. Man, tonally, this is going here. Like, what are these powers? Like, the whole process of all these kids having these certain abilities and then the other population of the kids, you know, just dying off. Like, what is really happening? And then the main character, she has this really interesting situation that happens with her parents. And then from that point, the movie just kind of platforms, and you're kind of left to presume one thing when it comes to all the kids versus the main character. And the main character is played by Amanda Stenberg. She's playing the role of Ruby. If you know her from Rue, from Hunger Games, she's a really good actress, and she does a really good job in this one from an acting and emotional standpoint. But I think one of the things that intrigued me the most was about the VFX and the CG work. Like, there's a couple different characters that were interesting for me. I think Liam was an interesting character. Who was the little girl? I think her name was Zoo. And then what was the other boy's name? And then you had Chubbs, or it would be Charles. And Chubbs / Charles, I thought he was hilarious. Actually, a lot of times, like, you know, you kind of have like those stereotypical black guys. Stereotypical like one-liner friend or geeky friend that's kind of like in a movie, and like Chubb / Charles, he was actually legitimately funny. Like, he had great comedic timing. I thought he was on key when the time needed for it to be, and I actually really enjoyed his time in the film for what they gave him. The character Liam was kind of like the typical boyfriend, and it goes from that point into this kind of cliche, generic kind of range, unfortunately. This is where some of the things start going really negative. There's a lot of moments in the movie that feel really telegraphed, really cliche, and really just straight from this predictable place, unfortunately, when it comes to the character Ruby and the character Liam. Now, it's not that I don't think they have chemistry. It's not that I don't think that they can manage through certain scenes as actors or actresses. It was just so telegraphed, and it was so cliche and niche that, honestly, the problem with this film for me wasn't the first two acts. The first two acts, I think that, you know what I'm saying, like, I think teenagers and young adults, they would come to really like it. I think that they would actually find it very entertaining. I thought it was actually very entertaining. I was intrigued to see where the story was actually going to go, especially when you find out who the antagonist is. But it was the third act that the main character makes this decision, and I was like, this is an unnecessary, stupid decision. And it just kind of, I knew it was going to come. I knew how it was going to come. And I was like, I know we got a trilogy. I know that, you know, why are you doing this? But it just don't make any sense. And it takes away the value of the film for me. Even with the third act fight scene. Like, the fight scene at the end, I actually was looking for a lot more. I think I tempered my expectations are really too high, unfortunately. But it was entertaining, you know. But I was like, all right, you know, save for your best for last. Like, the movie's gonna get better VFX and get progressionally good. But it was like, when they had that one thing that happened, it just was like, I left with a bad taste in my mouth. And it's sad because I think that the actress and actors did a really good job of presenting these interesting four characters. And now the movie ends with those characters all in these different kind of situations that I personally don't take any value into seeing where they're actually going to go or what's going to happen with them. Like, there's no real emotional connection that allows me to be like, I need to see what happens to this character. Because when certain things were happening to him, I was like, oh man, I hope this doesn't happen to this character. Oh man, I hope this doesn't happen right here. And now it's like I leave the film, I was like, whatever, man. Like, I know this is where this is going to go, how telegraphed this is going to be. And unfortunately, this downgrades the film for me. I can't give the film no higher than a 5 out of 10. I wanted to give it maybe a 5.5 just based on how they did the VFX, but then they did this one cringy thing at the very end of the movie that I was like, no. I actually could give it a little bit lower, but I want to say that the presentation in the first 2 acts was there. And I think that young adults would actually find value and interest in it. But I kept thinking, yo, this is Edward and Bella all over again. And for those people that don't like Twilight and don't even know who I'm talking about, then I don't know how they're going to value this film. I don't know how they're going to look at it. I think that people are going to feel the same exact way that the 3rd act really didn't maximize the value or what the potential this actually really could have been. But at the same time, I didn't read the books, and I don't want to undercut the people that actually did read the books, but I do understand that they did leave some stuff out of the middle of it, specifically with the camp, but the end does fill out the same exact way. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this review. I'll talk to you guys later on. Gotta look at Cloak and Dagger. Keep it locked. JVS. We ain't gonna stop. Have a blessed night, guys. Have a blessed evening. Blessed day.